Hey YouTube, Everyman prepping here. And it's really getting serious now with this World War III. I know there's been a lot of talk about it, but we're actually in it now. And we've been in it for a while. It's just hard to tell when you're going through it at time. When World War II started, did people know that they were in World War II when Hitler started his initial moves, going into Austria, Hungary, even into Poland? Did they call it a World War then? No. But we all know how that turned out. And much is happening now with this World War III. As I said on Wednesday, Putin on Friday would give a speech, and he did. And he signed the formal documents, the treaties, and in Russia's mind and Putin's mind, they annexed the 4 areas of Ukraine. And they're partners in this World War III. China, they're going to be starting a financial war, and they're going to try to take out the United States on the financial side. And so we're going to talk about all that here in a minute. First, please like this video if you find this information useful and informative. Please subscribe, ring the bell. If you have subscribed, please share this with people. Let them know what's going on. Let them know that this, isn't just some little skirmish happening. This is going to affect everybody. This is getting really serious. So please, everybody, comment below, share, subscribe, like. Let's get this word out. And let's go on to the articles here. As you can see, Putin declares the 4 annexed regions are ours forever. And he's also thrown in, he does talked about the Nord Stream 2. There's a lot of, I'm looking for a good translation of the video. One said the Anglo-Saxons did it. One saying that, he's pointed at the U.S. Well, Anglo-Saxon, if you look it up, means like German, British people he's blaming, which would be odd. I think that might be a mistranslation. I think he's basically saying the West and the U.S. in general. So that was an attack outside of Ukraine. Russia might see that as an act of war. Like I said, the World War III is escalating here. But let's get on with the reading a little bit here. So Putin said that these eastern and southern provinces are now part of Russia forever. He even touted the referendums were accomplished in line with the UN Charter of Self-Determination for All Peoples. So he's saying they even followed the UN rules for this. He let the people decide. And when he says there's forever, it means no negotiating is giving these back. He's not giving them back unless he has to. He's basically saying, hey, bro, come and take it. Kind of like the two-way people in the United States. Come and take them from me. So that's what he's telling NATO. That's what he's telling Ukraine. Now, I'm not giving them up. They're ours now, and you better come get them if you want them. Do you have a stomach for it, NATO, for Ukraine? I don't know if they do or not. They also said, we call on Kiev, whatever you want to pronounce it, that regime to immediately stop hostilities and sit at the negotiation table. Basically, they're saying, we'll sit at the negotiation table. We're keeping all this territory, and, we'll start talking to you now. According to Zelenski, that's a non-starter. We'll see that in a minute here. Because as it says right here, that Putin will not negotiate the status of the annexed territories. He said they're theirs. He held a huge rally here. Let's look at, people say he doesn't have the support of the people. Well, if you check this video out here, you're going to see what he's talking about. Let me get it up. He's rallying the troops, rallying the people. Lots of people there. Lots of Russian flags. Yeah, I know it can be all propaganda, but that's Moscow. That's a lot of people. So, does he have the support of the country? He might. That's a pretty good rally there. So, with the U.S., the NATO, and the mainstream media saying that he's losing the country, well, time will tell, but it didn't look like it from that rally right there. Let's see, he went on to say Putin blamed the United States, that's what this article claims, for this week's unexplained explosions on the Nord Stream pipelines. He said, it's obvious to everyone who did it, in this translation, pointing the finger at us, which is, in their eyes, probably an act of war. And then he goes on to talk about the West and how the West is basically going to crumble because all the West has is money and printing money out of thin air, and Russia and China and their other allies over there, they have commodities. They have oil, gas, natural resources, rare earth, minerals, everything that the world needs, they have it. So he says, they, meaning the West, they print money, but you cannot warm your homes with this printed money. They have to convince their citizens to shower less, eat less, and put on warm clothes. He's poking fun that hey, I have the heating oil, I got the gas, I got the the oil for the refinery. We're going to be nice and warm this winter, and Europe, you're going to freeze because all you do is print money. And then he goes on further to go after the West and some of their beliefs, the progressiveness, the West falling in favor, going against the family values and stuff. This is what he said, quote, "Do we really want to have parent number 1, number 2, number 3, instead of just mom and dad in Russia? Do we want children to be told that there are other genders besides men and women? Is this the future we want for our children? For us, this is unacceptable." That was a quote from Putin. So all the YouTube police out there, not my opinion, it's just a straight quote from Russia there from Putin. He's basically going after saying, hey, family values are important to us. There's 2 genders out there, and we don't want this for our children. We don't want our children to grow up that way. And I tell you the truth, there's a lot of people in the United States and America that have this same philosophy and wish, that's what's going on here. But we're fighting an administration and a progressive left, and social justice warrior people doing that are basically destroying the society here in the West, and Russia's trying to build theirs. So keep that in mind in all this here. And then they go on to talk about how the U.S., this is quote, "The U.S. is the only country in the world to have used nuclear weapons in a war." And he's right on that point. And he says this created a precedent, meaning, hey, United States, you used them to stop a war and to get what you wanted. Well, if you attack our newly annexed areas, it's the president's. We can do nuclear wars to protect them, to stop you guys from warring on us. That's a big threat. Like I said, escalation, World War III getting deeper here. And like I said, Zelensky says he's not going to negotiate with Putin. He'll negotiate with Russia, but not Putin. Trying to install in the people over there maybe that, hey, overthrow this guy, throw him out, we'll end this war, everything will be good. And that led to also, here we have Ukraine applies for accelerated NATO membership. And Stoltenberg to speak soon. At the time of this recording of this video, he hadn't spoken yet, so I'm not sure what he said. But, NATO's in a tough spot here. NATO has already told Ukraine, you're not coming into NATO. You don't qualify. You got a lot of corruption. You got a lot of mismanagement. We're not sure it's right that you come into NATO. I mean, heck, they barely wanted, Finland and Sweden in there. So does NATO now just say, okay, we'll let you in? And then once they join NATO, what, do you invoke Article 5 automatically because, Russia took 4 of their property, already 20% of their land already? Do you invoke Article 5? Does NATO know that? Know that they're increasing this World War III? Does NATO just tell them, no, we're not taking you in. Yeah, we'll support you the way we've done, but we're not making you part of NATO, which then emboldens Russia. Maybe Russia then goes after Odessa. I don't think Russia's going to stop here at these 4 territories. I think they're going to move on, especially if NATO shows weakness by saying, yeah, we're not going to let you in there, Ukraine. You're kind of on your own. So NATO's in a little bit of a tough spot because, the pipelines are gone. It's going to be a cold winter. Russia's getting only stronger. Their monetary system's stronger. The monetary system in EU, UK is crashing, as you know. UK a few days ago barely avoided pension fund defaults and mortgage defaults with their gilt bonds. They had to throw a ton of money at it. Same's going to happen here. So, right now, Russia and China, they kind of have the upper hand and they know it. So what does NATO do? Well, we're going to find out here hopefully a little bit later today or this weekend. But it's not looking good for their side. I think, personally, if I had to guess, they don't let you, they're not going to accelerate, they're not going to put them into, Ukraine's not going to, they're not going to let Ukraine into NATO. That's just not going to happen. They might send the big weapons. They might send, F-35 fighter jets. They might send long range. They might tell Zelensky, go ahead and, shoot inside of Russia. Do whatever you want. Attack these countries. Let's see what they do. Okay, let's call Putin's bluff, maybe. Let's attack, these 4 regions, see what happens. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Then Russia might go tactical nuke, and we escalate from there. But we shall see. Like I said, it's very serious times we're going into here. This leads to China, the eastern front. Just like World War II, you had Japan on the eastern side, the eastern part. Well, look at China. They're getting into the financial war. Most wars are fought over money. That's how, United States fights wars to keep their dominance of the reserve currency. China's now probably going to fight a war to get Taiwan back and make, something within the BRICS nations their own reserve currency. So China tells state banks here to prepare for a massive dollar dump and yuan buying spree, as Beijing's prior interventions have failed to stem its currencies. It's the worst since 1994. So Reuters is reporting that China told state-owned banks to get ready to sell dollars and buy yuan in an effort to prop up the currency. Sounds familiar, right? It's kind of what Britain just did. The move could stem the yuan's fall as it remains on track for its largest annual loss against the dollar since 1994, like we talked about. So China is going to dump dollars. That's going to cause the 10-year yields and other bonds to skyrocket again. And what they're doing, they're trying, these countries are trying to kill the dollar as the reserve currency, which it will if it keeps going on. And once that's done, and the U.S. is the reserve currency, and our 10-year goes over 4% of that, then what happens? Our Fed pivots. Yep, they're going to do it. They're going to start quantitative easing. They're going to start buying bonds too. They're going to buy tons of them, and billions of dollars worth. And what's it going to do? Hyperinflation. So not only going to have the loss of the dollar as the reserve currency, we're going to have hyperinflation along with stagflation. Not a good mix. It's not a great picture for what's going on right now. I think the dollar needs to die. The currency, the system we have now needs to die so we can come up with a new one. The new one based on gold and silver. That'll save the monetary system. As for the war, World War III, and what happens, it's probably going to move beyond Ukraine, as it already has with Nord Stream 2, into Taiwan, and maybe further into Europe. And then, the United States, during World War I and II, we lost a lot of troops, a lot of men. World War II, you had Pearl Harbor attacked, kind of, sort of. Kind of United States let them in, let them attack, but yeah, that was military base. But the continent, the mainland U.S. has never really been hurt by a war. And I think if this escalates like it looks like it's going to, we're going to see a lot of hardship here in our homeland here, not just abroad. It's going to be, I don't know if it'd be boots on the ground here per se, but it might be EMP attacks, cyber attacks. The grid might go down. The people here are going to suffer, and you got to be ready for that, and that's what we're doing here. So pay attention to what's going on. We got to keep advisors, keep your prepping. I know it's a lot going on. It drags on. I know it wears you down, but just keep stacking food, medical, water, all those things. Keep apprised of the international, watch the videos I put out, other video channels, so you know what's happening. Get your assets in your own hand, secure that so you have wealth to turn to when there is no more fiat currency. A lot of people say you can't eat silver, you can't eat gold, you can't eat crypto. No, you can't. But you know what? You can trade those off, barter them, you can sell them, you can use them as money to buy the stuff you need when no one else has it. You're going to have it on hand. So that's all I have for you now. I'll have more later, I'm sure, after the UN and NATO give their speeches today in response to Putin, and we'll update you then. But until later, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.